The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz is one of the best personal development books ever written. The book was published 63 years ago in 1959, but still to this day, it is applicable and extremely practical. This book will positively impact almost every single aspect of your life, whether it's making more money, achieving big goals, becoming more confident, getting rid of self-limiting beliefs, etc. The book is packed with valuable lessons, which is why I have done a complete summary of it covering all 13 parts. This video is not for people who have the attention span of a puppy. It's made long on purpose so that if you can't read the book, you can get all the important information out of it by watching this video. Part number 1. Cure yourself from failure disease. Excuses. Unsuccessful people often suffer from a mind-deadening thought disease called excuses. This disease plagues the mind of those who have yet to achieve their desired level of success. If we study the lives of successful people, we discover a striking difference. They refuse to make excuses. While the mediocre fellow is quick to explain why they haven't, why they don't, why they can't, and why they aren't succeeding, the successful person doesn't waste their time with such excuses. Excuse disease is like any other disease. If left untreated, it worsens over time. But here's the thing, you can vaccinate yourself against it. By understanding its 4 most common forms, you can liberate yourself from the disease of the failures. Excuse number 1, it's no use. I'm too old or too young. There are 2 common forms of age excuses, the I'm too old and the I'm too young. The good news is that both can be cured. Consider the story of Cecil, a 40-year-old trainee who believed he was too old to start something new. Cecil dreamed of shifting his career and becoming a manufacturer's representative. However, he felt discouraged, thinking he would have to start from scratch at his age. I'm too old for that now, he said. But then came a breakthrough. During a training session, someone asked Cecil, when does a person's productive life begin? Cecil thought for a moment and responded, oh, when they're about 20, I guess. The questioner continued, and when does a person's productive life end? Cecil replied, well, average people can be productive until they're 70 or so. The realization hit him. The average productive life is 50 years, and he had been productive for only 20 years. So there were still at least 30 more years left of his productive life. He hadn't even reached the halfway point of his productive years. After this, Cecil's perspective completely shifted from I'm already old to I'm still young. Now let's meet Jerry, a 23-year-old facing the I'm too young variation of age excuse. Jerry had been offered a job as a sales manager, overseeing a team of 8 salesmen, all of whom were older than him. He doubted his ability to handle the position due to his age. Seeking guidance, he approached the author for advice. The author gave him 3 tips. 1, don't be age conscious. When you prove you are able to handle the job of a sales manager, you are automatically old enough. Number 2, do not misuse your power. It's crucial to show respect for older colleagues and seek their suggestions. Make them feel they are working for a team captain, not a dictator. Do this and men will work for you and not against you. Number 3, get used to working with older individuals because in the future, there will be more job opportunities where you have to lead older people. This will open more doors. Jerry embraced these insights, realizing that age won't make him a handicap unless he allowed it. Excuse number 2, but my health isn't good. 2 experiences happened with the author in one afternoon that illustrate the correct and incorrect attitudes toward health. The author had finished a talk in Cleveland when a man in his 30s approached the author privately. He expressed admiration for the talk, but he was skeptical about its practical benefits for him. He shared his concerns about having a bad heart and the need to hold himself back. Despite consulting 4 doctors who found no abnormalities, he continued to worry. The author advised him to seek out the finest heart specialist and accept their diagnosis as final. Moreover, the author recommended reading a book on living a fulfilling life. Shortly after, during a plane journey to Detroit, the author says, I started to hear a ticking sound coming from the person sitting next to me. The person smiled and said, don't worry, it's not a bomb, it's my heart. Then went on to explain that a plastic valve had been implanted, causing a ticking sound in his chest. Instead of being disheartened, this person showed enthusiasm and revealed his ambitious plans to study law and pursue a career in government work. He acknowledged the need to take it easy for a few months, but expressed excitement for the future, confident that he would be like new after the recovery period. What do these two stories teach us? The first individual allowed fear and worry to dominate his thoughts, potentially compromising his well-being. In contrast, the second person embraced his situation with optimism and determination, refusing to let his health setback hinder his ambitions. These two stories demonstrate the power of our thoughts and attitudes toward our health. The important thing to understand is that it's about having the right attitude. Here are 4 things you can do to kick health excuses out of your life. 1. Refuse to talk about your health. Constantly discussing your illnesses only magnifies them. Instead, focus on the positive aspects of your well-being and engage in conversations that uplift and inspire others. Number 2, refuse to worry about your health. Worrying only amplifies your health issues and prevents you from enjoying life. Excessive tests and examinations won't make you healthier. They'll only add unnecessary stress. Number 3, be genuinely grateful for your current health. Count your blessings and appreciate the well-being you have. Number 4, remind yourself often, it's better to wear out than rust out. Life is meant to be lived and enjoyed. Don't waste precious time by overthinking and imagining yourself confined to a hospital bed. Excuse number 3, but my case is different. I attract bad luck. Let me tell you a story about David. The author was having lunch with 3 young junior executives, and they were talking about David's recent promotion. They came up with all sorts of reasons like luck and favoritism that helped David to get promoted. But the truth was, David got the promotion because he was simply better qualified. He'd been working harder, doing a better job, and had a more pleasant personality. The senior officers in the company had carefully considered all the candidates before choosing him. It had nothing to do with luck. One of the salesmen congratulated David on the $112,000 order, calling it luck. But here's the thing. The weak salesman failed to see that luck had nothing to do with it. David had been working on that customer for months, talking to multiple people, and putting in long hours to understand their needs. He planned everything meticulously and even involved engineers in preliminary designs. It wasn't luck. It was careful planning and hard work. The truth is, success in any field doesn't come from luck alone. It's about having the right attitude and putting in the effort. To conquer luck excuses, you need to accept the law of cause and effect. 1. Look closely at what may seem like someone's good luck, and you'll see it's a result of preparation, planning, and positive thinking. Similarly, when you encounter setbacks that might seem like bad luck, there are specific reasons behind them. Successful people learn and grow from these setbacks. 2. Don't fall into the trap of wishful thinking. Success doesn't come effortlessly or solely through luck. It comes from taking action, mastering principles, and doing what it takes to succeed. Excuse number 4. But you've got to have brains to succeed. It's estimated that as many as 95% of people around us suffer from intelligence excuses or the belief that they're not smart enough. The author shares the story of his friend John. He was a popular college professor. When he came back from war in Europe in 1945, something had changed. He'd lost one of his arms in battle. It could have made him bitter or discouraged, but it didn't. He was always smiling and ready to lend a hand to anyone in need. One day, the author had a deep conversation about his missing arm. He asked him how he stayed so upbeat despite the challenge. John smiled and said, "It's just an arm. It would be nice to have 2, but they took one away." That chat made the author realize that it's not about how many arms you have, it's about the attitude you have. The right attitude with 1 arm will always beat the wrong attitude with 2 arms. Your attitude is more important than your intelligence. The author said he had a friend named Chuck who was an exceptionally bright student and graduated with honors. He had dreams of owning his own business in western Nebraska. However, years later when the author caught up with him, Chuck revealed that he had never pursued his entrepreneurial aspirations. Instead, he became an expert in why a business idea wouldn't work out. Chuck had studied every possible reason why small businesses fail, constantly focusing on the potential pitfalls. The saddest part is that some of Chuck's old high school friends who didn't seem to have much going for them and never even went to college, are now thriving in their own businesses. It was Chuck's attitude and thinking that held him back, not his level of intelligence. Here's a few tips to overcome the intelligence excuse. Number 1, never underestimate your own intelligence and overestimate the intelligence of others. Number 2, stop selling yourself short and instead focus on your assets. Discover your unique talents and concentrate on how you can use them effectively. 3, remind yourself daily that your attitude is more important than your intelligence. 4, instead of dwelling on why something can't be done, find reasons you can do it. 5, remember that the ability to think is far more valuable than the ability to memorize facts. Don't burden your mind with unnecessary information that can be easily found on Google. Use your mental ability to think critically, to generate new ideas, and to discover better ways of doing things. Albert Einstein was once asked how many feet are in a mile. His response? I don't know. Why should I fill my brain with facts I can find in 2 minutes in any standard reference book? Einstein believed in using your mind to think, not as a garage for facts. Part 2. Build confidence and destroy fear. Fear is a powerful force that affects us in various ways. It's important to acknowledge its existence before we can overcome it. Fear is the number one enemy of success, hindering people from seizing opportunities, draining their energy, and even impacting their physical health. Here are 3 practical tips to build confidence and destroy fear. Tip number 1, action cures fear. An executive came to seek the author's advice. He was going through a tough time at work. The guy was worried about losing his job because his department's sales were down by 7%, while the overall store sales were climbing up. He had made matters worse because of a couple of bad decisions, and his manager was giving him a hard time for not keeping up with the company's progress. On and on, he kept talking. The author said, I finally couldn't wait and cut him off and asked what he was doing to improve the situation. He replied that there wasn't much he could do but hope for the best. Here's the thing, hope's only a start, but hope needs action. So the author advised him to take 2 actions to back up that hope. First, figure out why the sales were slipping and take steps to turn them around. Second, let a few trusted business friends know that he might be open to a better offer elsewhere, just in case. And guess what? After a few days, this same executive reached out to the author with some fantastic news. He'd stepped up his game and made some changes, especially with the sales team. Instead of weekly meetings, he started holding them daily, and that made a huge difference. Energy is contagious. When the team saw the positive energy in him, the whole team pushed harder to succeed. And he not only managed to surpass the last year's sales figures, but also outperformed the store's average. He even received 2 job offers, but he turned them down because everything was finally looking up in his current position. He couldn't be happier with the way things turned out and expressed deep gratitude for the author's guidance. The thing about fear is that it makes you freeze and just hope for the best. But remember, when fear takes hold, it's time to break free by taking action. Action cures fear. For example, you've probably stood next to a swimming pool thinking whether you should jump or not. But then suddenly a friend pushes you and you're in the water, and the fear's gone. So the next time fear tries to hold you back, ask yourself a powerful question. What action can I take to conquer this fear? To make it more relatable, let me share some everyday examples of fear and their corresponding action cures. 1. If you feel embarrassed about your appearance, visit a barbershop or a beauty salon. Give your shoes a good polish and ensure your clothes are clean and ironed. Embrace the power of better grooming. 2. If you have a fear of losing an important customer, commit yourself to delivering better service. Go the extra mile to correct any shortcomings that may have eroded your customers' confidence in you. Show them why they chose you in the first place. 3. Tackle the fear of failing an examination and take it as an opportunity to transform that worry time into study time. Channel your energy into preparation. 4. If fear of making significant financial decisions, such as investing or purchasing a home, is worrying you, then analyze all the relevant factors, trust your instincts, and make a decision. Once you've made up your mind, stand by it with unwavering confidence. Remember, conquering fear and building confidence is a simple 2-step process. First, identify and isolate your fear by pinpointing exactly what you're afraid of. Second, take action. Regardless of the type of fear you're facing, there's always an action you can take to overcome it. Tip number 2, put only positive thoughts in your memory bank. Your brain works like a bank, and your thoughts are the deposits you make into your mind bank each day. When you face a problem or need to think, you rely on your memory bank and ask, Mr. Banker, what do I already know about this? And Mr. Banker gives you the information you've stored in the past. But here's the thing, your memory doesn't pick and choose. If you ask for thoughts that prove your inferiority, it gladly provides memories of past failures. If you ask Mr. Banker to show you that you are a failure in life, he will probably respond like this. Remember what your 6th grade teacher told you, that you will be a failure in life? And those comments you overheard from your coworkers? Oh, and don't forget. And just like this, it can go on and on. It can dig out thought after thought that makes you feel inadequate. Now, imagine going to Mr. Banker and making a different request. You say, Mr. Banker, I am facing a tough decision. Can you give me thoughts that will reassure me? And guess what? Mr. Banker, being very responsive, shares thoughts you deposited earlier that prove you can succeed. He reminds you of your past accomplishments, the confidence others have in you, and the positive feedback you've received at work. The secret to building confidence is managing your memory bank efficiently. And here are 2 simple things you can do. 1, every day, deposit only positive thoughts into your memory bank. Think of it like this. If every morning before heading to work you decided to scoop up a handful of dirt from the ground and pour it into your car's engine, how do you think your car would perform? It would quickly become a malfunctioning mess, unable to do what you need it to do. Well, the same goes for your mind when you deposit negative and unpleasant thoughts into it. Those thoughts act like dirt in your mental motor, causing unnecessary wear and tear. They lead to worry, frustration, and feelings of inferiority. They become roadblocks that stop you from moving forward, while others speed ahead. Ditch the negative and focus only on positive thoughts. Before bed, consciously deposit good thoughts into your memory bank. Think about what you're grateful for, your loved ones, friends, and good health. Recall the positive actions you witnessed during the day and celebrate your own victories, no matter how small. Remind yourself why life is worth cherishing. 2, withdraw only positive thoughts from your memory bank. Negative thoughts, if dwelled upon, can grow into big problems that chip away at your confidence and lead to psychological difficulties. The solution is to consciously refuse to dwell on negatives and instead focus on the positives. Don't allow negative thoughts to dominate. Choose not to dwell on unpleasant thoughts from your memory bank. When you remember past experiences, consciously focus on the good parts and let go of the bad. Here's the encouraging part. Your mind actually wants you to forget the unpleasant. If you cooperate, those unpleasant memories will gradually shrink and be erased from your memory bank. Tip number 3, put people into the proper perspective. Fear of people. Have you ever wondered why many people feel self-conscious around others? Fear of other people is one of the most common fears. But the good news is that it can be conquered by putting things into perspective. Let me share an interesting example of a successful business owner. Before he joined the Army during World War II, he was extremely shy and timid. He felt inferior to others and believed he was destined to fail. However, during his time in the Army, something changed. As a medic, he examined numerous recruits day after day. The more he observed them, the less afraid of people he became. He realized something fundamental during that time. People are more alike than they are different. They all have similar desires, worries, and needs. When he recognized that others were just like him, wanting good food, missing their loved ones, and aiming for success, he realized there was no reason to fear them. So put people in proper perspective and remind yourself that we are more alike than different. Here are 5 exercises to build your confidence. 1, be a front seater. Notice how people often fill the back seats in meetings and classrooms to avoid standing out? Sitting up front builds confidence. Make it a habit to sit as close to the front as possible. 2, practice making eye contact. The way you use your eyes communicates a lot about you. Avoiding eye contact signifies weakness, guilt, or fear. Overcome this by consciously looking people in the eyes when speaking to them. It shows honesty and confidence and builds trust. 3, walk 25% faster. Walk with your head held high and your shoulders back, moving just a little faster than usual. You'll notice a boost in self-confidence. 4. Practice speaking up. Lack of confidence often hinders participation in discussions. The more you speak up, the more your confidence grows. Make it a rule to say something at every meeting or conference you attend. Don't worry about looking foolish. You won't. For every person who thinks your idea is stupid, there's another person who thinks it's an amazing idea. 5. Smile big. A smile is a powerful confidence booster. When you feel fear, try smiling and see the positive impact it has on your confidence. Part 3. How to think big. Do you ever wonder why some people achieve remarkable success while others fail while having the same starting point? The answer lies in the power of their thinking. It's not about inches, pounds, or diplomas. It's about the size of their thoughts. The bigger we think, the greater our accomplishments become. So let's explore how we can expand our thinking and unlock our true potential. 1. Conquer the crime of self-deprecation. We often underestimate our abilities and let opportunities slip away. For example, John comes across a job advertisement that aligns perfectly with his aspirations, but he dismisses it, convinced he's not good enough. Jim desires a date with Joan, yet he hesitates to make the call, doubting his worthiness. Tom believes Mr. Richards would be an ideal prospect for his product, but he refrains from reaching out, intimidated by Mr. Richards' status. Peter, filling out a job application, downplays his expected salary, believing he isn't deserving of a higher sum. Here's an exercise to help you recognize your true value. 1. Identify your 5 greatest assets. Seek the perspective of an objective friend, a trusted confidant, a superior, or a knowledgeable mentor who can provide an honest assessment. List assets like education, experience, technical skills, appearance, a harmonious home life, positive attitudes, personality traits, and initiative. 2. Under each asset, write the names of 3 individuals who have achieved significant success but possess that asset to a lesser degree than you do. This exercise will reveal that you surpass many accomplished individuals in at least one aspect. You are bigger than you think. Never, under any circumstances, sell yourself short. Now that you have understood your true value, it's time to focus on the big thinker's vocabulary and why you need it. Consider this. If you were to address a group of people with the statement, "I regret to inform you that we have failed," their minds would immediately conjure feelings of defeat, disappointment, and sorrow. However, if you were to say, "Here's a fresh approach that I believe will succeed," you would evoke encouragement and a willingness to try again. Saying, "We incurred a big expense," automatically brings to mind money spent with no return. Instead, if you say, "We made a significant investment," people envision a future profit. The point is this: big thinkers specialize in creating positive, forward-looking, and optimistic mental images within their minds and the minds of others. To think big, we must employ words and phrases that generate substantial and positive mental pictures. Here are 4 strategies to develop the vocabulary of a big thinker. Strategy number 1. Use big, positive, and cheerful words and phrases to express your feelings. When someone asks, "How do you feel today?" respond with enthusiasm, saying, "Just wonderful, thanks. And how about yourself?" Avoid responses like, "I'm tired," "I have a headache," or "I don't feel so good." By the way, this doesn't mean that you stop listening to your body and force yourself all the time to be fake. These tips are just to uplift your own spirits. Responding positively to questions about your well-being will gradually make you feel wonderful and amplify your sense of self-importance. Become known as someone who consistently radiates positivity. It will attract friends and allies. Strategy number 2. Use bright, cheerful, and favorable language when describing other people. Make it a rule to use positive words for your friends and colleagues. When discussing absent individuals, ensure you shower them with compliments and generous phrases. Be mindful to avoid belittling or derogatory remarks, as gossip has a way of reaching its subjects sooner or later. Such negative talk only diminishes your own stature. Strategy number 3. Utilize positive language to encourage and uplift others. Take every opportunity to personally compliment people. Everyone craves praise and recognition. Make it a point to offer sincere compliments. Acknowledge and appreciate the efforts of your coworkers. Compliment others on their appearance, their work, their achievements, and their families. Genuine and well-timed praise is a powerful tool. Strategy number 4. Use positive words to outline your plans and ideas to others. When you present your thoughts by saying, "Here's some good news, we have a genuine opportunity," their minds ignite with excitement. Conversely, if you approach it with a phrase like, "We've got a job to do, whether we like it or not," the mental image becomes dull and uninspiring, and their response will reflect that. Okay, a quick sum up before I move on to the second tip. In this section, we have been talking about how to think big. The first tip was about conquering the crime of self-deprecation. We talked about 2 exercises to find your assets and make you realize that you are bigger than you think. Finally, we talked about 4 strategies to develop a big thinker vocabulary. 2. Stretch your vision. See what can be, not just what is. Big thinkers possess the ability to see beyond what currently exists and envision what can be. Let me share a story about a highly successful realtor who specialized in rural properties. He was known for transforming rundown farms into thriving ventures. Imagine a beautiful countryside with a neglected farm, a worn-out house, and a feeling of disrepair. Most would write it off, but not this realtor. He saw beyond the decay. He saw what the farm could become, not just what it was then. No vague promises. This realtor believed in presenting concrete plans that sparked buyers' imaginations. He carried a briefcase filled with typed proposals, each outlining a different future for the farm. He had 3 captivating possibilities. For example, one of them was a tree farm combined with a poultry farm. Rows of fruitful trees and happy clucking chickens. He left no detail unaddressed, showing how this farm could become profitable. And guess what? His approach worked like magic. He didn't convince buyers to settle for what the farm was. He made them see its potential. Word spread, and soon he was selling more farms faster and at higher prices than anyone else. People wanted his transformative touch. His ability to see potential where others saw nothing was like a superpower. He brought forgotten lands back to life, creating opportunities out of thin air. The moral of the story is this: look beyond the present and envision what can be. A big thinker always visualizes future possibilities instead of being confined by the present. To develop your power of vision, practice these adding value exercises. Exercise number 1. Practice adding value to things. Remember the real estate example? Challenge yourself by asking, how can I enhance the value of this room, this house, or this business? Seek ideas to make things more valuable. Exercise number 2. Practice adding value to people. As you ascend the ladder of success, a significant portion of your role becomes focused on people development. Ask yourself, how can I contribute value to my subordinates? How can I help them become more effective? Remember, to bring out the best in someone, you must first envision their highest potential. Exercise number 3. Practice adding value to yourself. Conduct a daily self-interview. Ask, what can I do today to increase my value? Visualize yourself not as who you are now, but as who you can become. Part 4. How to think and dream creatively. Creative thinking is the key to discovering innovative and improved methods for accomplishing tasks. Whether it's achieving success at home, work, or in the community, the ability to find better ways of doing things is essential. Here are 4 great methods for becoming more creative. 1. Develop and strengthen your creative thinking ability. Step 1. Believe it can be done. In a training session on creative thinking, the concept of eliminating jails within the next 30 years was brought up. The idea seemed odd to the participants. They believed that turning criminals loose would lead to chaos and put innocent people at risk. The group voiced their concerns, emphasizing the necessity of having jails. Some even mentioned that jobs for the police and prison guards relied on the existence of jails. The participants seemed convinced that eliminating jails was an impossible notion. However, the facilitator urged them to temporarily suspend their doubts and explore the idea further. With a shift in mindset, the group began to generate suggestions on how to address crime prevention differently. Ideas included establishing more youth centers, addressing poverty as a root cause, conducting research to identify potential criminals beforehand, developing new rehabilitation procedures, and educating law enforcement in effective methods of reform. The exercise highlighted that by believing in the possibility of change, new perspectives and ideas can emerge, leading to innovative solutions that were previously unseen. The experiment illustrates an important truth. When you believe something is impossible, your mind works to confirm your belief. However, when you genuinely believe that something can be done, your mind actively engages in finding ways to make it a reality. To develop your creative power through belief, consider the following suggestions. 1. Eliminate the word impossible from your thinking and speaking vocabulary, as it only breeds failure. Instead, focus on what you can achieve. 2. Think of a particular aspiration you've deemed unattainable and compile a list of reasons why you can make it happen. It's important to recognize that there is no one-size-fits-all approach to any task. Whether it's decorating an apartment, landscaping a lawn, making a sale, raising a child, or cooking a steak, there are countless creative minds with unique perspectives and ideas. Embrace the diversity of possibilities and understand that there are multiple best ways to accomplish a goal. 2. Ask yourself daily, how can I do better? Successful people are always searching for ways to improve. They know they can do better, so they ask themselves, how can I do it better? Let me tell you about a remarkable business owner who achieved great success in a competitive market. Despite starting with only $3,500 and facing strong competition, she opened 4 hardware stores in just 4 years. How did she do it? Through her weekly improvement program. The author visited her store to ask about her success. She attributed it to her self-styled weekly improvement program. She told him it was just a simple plan to help her do a better job each week. She divided her job into 4 key elements: customers, employees, merchandise, and promotion. Throughout the week, she made notes and jotted down ideas on how to improve her business. Then, every Monday evening, she dedicated 4 hours to reviewing those ideas and finding ways to put the best ones into action. Thanks to this exercise, she shared numerous little innovations that made her first 3 stores successful. For example, she carefully arranged merchandise within her stores, implemented a suggestion selling technique that convinced 2 out of 3 customers to buy additional items, devised a credit plan during a strike when many customers were out of work, and even created a sales-boosting contest during a slow season. As she spoke, her passion and confidence were evident. She emphasized that her weekly improvement plan truly worked. By consistently asking herself, how can I do a better job? She found the answers. Rarely did a Monday night pass without her coming up with a plan or technique that improved her profit and loss statement. She also shared an important insight about successful merchandising. She believed that what you know when you start doesn't matter as much as what you learn and apply after you open your doors. It's the continuous pursuit of improvement that counts the most. So, here's a daily exercise to develop your I can do it better attitude. Before you start your work each day, take 10 minutes to think about how you can do a better job. Ask yourself questions like, how can I encourage my employees? What special favor can I do for my customers? How can I increase my personal efficiency? Review your ideas once a week and implement the ones that seem promising. This exercise may seem simple, but it has a profound impact. You'll uncover many creative ways to achieve greater success. 3. Ask yourself, how can I do more? Once there was a young executive working in a bank whose colleagues suddenly quit, leaving their department in a tough spot. This colleague had an important role, and the work couldn't just be put on hold. The vice president in charge of the department called our young executive for a chat. She had already asked the other team members if they could take on the extra work, but they couldn't handle it. So she turned to our young man and asked if he could step up to the challenge. Now, this executive had a motto: never say no to an opportunity. Without a second thought, he agreed to take on the additional workload and promised to do his very best. He was determined to find a way to handle both jobs. He finished up his work that afternoon, and when the offices were closed, he sat down to figure out how he could increase his personal efficiency. He got a pencil and started writing down every idea he could think of, and he came up with some good ones. like working out an arrangement with his assistant to channel all routine telephone calls to him during a certain hour each day, placing all outgoing calls during a certain hour, cutting his usual conference periods from 15 minutes to 10. He also discovered his assistant was eager to take over a number of little time-consuming details for him. Within a week's time, he was sending twice as many emails, handling 50% more phone calls, and attending half as many meetings, all with no strain. The vice president noticed his exceptional performance and praised him. But that's not all. She had an exciting surprise. She couldn't find a new candidate who could do the job, so she decided to give him the job, along with a nice salary increase. This experience taught him a valuable lesson. Your capacity is only a state of mind. Here's a simple exercise you can follow to increase your efficiency. Shift your focus to the question, how can I do more? By concentrating on this question, you will unleash your creativity and discover innovative solutions. Some of these answers might involve improving the planning and organization of your current workload, finding intelligent shortcuts to streamline your routine activities, or even eliminating non-essential tasks altogether. Remember, the key is to keep an open mind and remain persistent, as the solution for doing more will reveal itself to you. 4. Practice asking and listening. The author once had the opportunity to be a staff instructor in an executive management seminar. This seminar had 12 sessions, and each session had a special segment where an executive would share how they solved their most challenging management problem. However, something unique happened during the 9th session. The executive, a vice president from a big milk processing company, decided to do things differently. Instead of presenting his solution, he presented his problem and asked the group for help in solving it. He quickly explained the issue and eagerly awaited ideas from the participants. Afterward, the author had a chance to talk with this executive and expressed admiration for his approach. The executive responded by saying that there were some incredibly smart people in the group, and he thought it would be a great opportunity to gather different ideas. Someone's suggestion could provide the missing piece he needed to solve the problem. It was fascinating to see how this executive presented his challenge and then listened attentively. In doing so, he not only gained valuable insights to help with his decision-making, but also allowed the other executives in the audience to participate and contribute their thoughts. It was a win-win situation for everyone involved. You know, the modern world is all about collaboration and seeking diverse opinions. Just like successful businesses conduct market research, it's essential for individuals to seek feedback and input from others. By actively listening to people's thoughts, you gain valuable ideas for improving your work, relationships, and personal growth. Now, here's how you can apply this concept in your own life. Number 1, create a supportive circle. Surround yourself with a group of friends or like-minded individuals who share common interests or professional goals. Meet up regularly to discuss your challenges and successes. Create an atmosphere where everyone feels comfortable opening up and seeking advice. Number 2, step outside your comfort zone and join a group unrelated to your work. Engage with individuals from different backgrounds and job interests. This exposure will expand your perspective and ignite your creativity. Number 3, share your obstacles. Be open and transparent about the challenges you're facing, whether it's in your career, relationships, or personal development. Clearly articulate the problem and ask for suggestions from your friends. Be receptive to their perspectives, even if they differ from your own. Number 4, listen actively. When others share their thoughts and experiences, actively listen and engage with what they're saying. Take notes if necessary, and ask follow-up questions to gain a deeper understanding. Give each person the space to express their ideas fully. Number 5, reflect and act. After the discussion, reflect on the insights you've gathered. Evaluate which suggestions resonate with you and align with your values and goals. Consider implementing those ideas in your life. Okay, this was another big section where we discussed how to think creatively. Let's move on to part 5. Part 5. You are what you think you are. What you think about yourself affects how others see you. It's true. If you think you're inferior, even if you're not, people will see you as inferior. On the flip side, if you truly believe you're capable and equal to the task, you will be seen that way. To be important, we must genuinely believe that we are important, and then others will see us that way too. To earn the respect of others, it starts with respecting yourself. The more respect you have for yourself, the more respect others will have for you. Now, Let's explore some practical ways to boost self-respect and gain the respect of others. 1. Look important. It helps you think important. Look, I agree with you that people should judge each other based on their intellect and not their clothes, but the reality is different. People do evaluate you based on your appearance, and first impressions are formed quickly. Your appearance speaks volumes. Make sure it conveys positive messages about you. Before you step out of your home, ensure that you feel and look like the person you aspire to be. Clothing is more than just fabric. It's a tool to lift your spirits and build confidence. Your appearance not only impacts how you feel about yourself, but also influences what others think of you. Let me share an interesting example. In a supermarket, the author noticed 2 sets of grapes. The first was priced at 15 cents a pound, while the second was packaged in polyethylene bags and marked at $2.35. Curious, he asked the person at the weighing station about the difference. He explained that the difference is polyethylene. They sell twice as many grapes in the bags because they look better that way. Just think about this grape example when you're presenting yourself. When you're properly packaged, you have a higher chance of making a positive impression and even commanding a higher price. The better you present yourself, the more acceptance you'll receive from the public. A well-dressed person's appearance speaks volumes. It signals to others, here is someone important, intelligent, successful, and reliable. This person can be respected, admired, and trusted. They value themselves, and I should value them too. On the other hand, a person with a shabby appearance sends negative messages. It says, this person isn't doing well. They're careless, inefficient, and unimportant. They're just average and don't deserve special consideration. They're used to being pushed around. Remember, your appearance is an important aspect of how others perceive you. Take pride in your appearance, and it will positively influence both your thoughts about yourself and how others view you. 2. Believe in the importance of your work. Imagine 3 bricklayers working together. When asked what they're doing, the first one says, I'm laying bricks. The second one replies, I'm making $9.30 an hour. But the third bricklayer proudly declares, I'm building the world's greatest cathedral. What do you think happened to them later on? Well, chances are the first 2 stayed as ordinary bricklayers. They didn't have big dreams or job satisfaction. They were just doing their work without much passion. But the third bricklayer, he saw himself as part of something magnificent. And guess what? He didn't stay just a bricklayer. He climbed higher and achieved success, maybe as a foreman, a contractor, or even an architect. Why? Because what we think has a powerful impact on our lives. Let me tell you about a personnel director of an appliance manufacturer. He shared something fascinating called the personnel audit system. Every 6 months, he and his assistant talk to each employee to find out how they can support them better. They believe that every person on their team matters and deserves attention. During these chats, they don't ask direct questions. Instead, they encourage employees to speak freely and share their honest thoughts. After each talk, they rate the employee's attitude toward different aspects of their job. And you know what he discovered? Employees can be divided into 2 groups, Group A and Group B, based on how they think about their work. Group B folks mainly talk about job security, retirement plans, and other benefits. They focus on the negative side of their job, complaining about coworkers and things they don't like. They see their work as something they have to do, not something they want to do. Sadly, about 80% of non-productive staff fall into this group. But then there's Group A, the special bunch. They see their job differently. They care about their future and actively seek suggestions to improve. They have a broader perspective and come up with ideas to make the business better. When it comes to promotions, pay raises, and special privileges, almost always recommendations come from Group A individuals, while challenges and problems come from Group B. This proves that your thoughts shape your reality. If you think you're weak, inadequate, or bound to fail, you'll end up feeling mediocre. But if you believe in the importance of your work, recognize your abilities, and see your job as something significant, you're on the right path to success. 3. Give yourself a pep talk several times, daily. In a training program, a participant struggled to deliver a talk on leadership. He was visibly nervous, forgot his lines, and felt defeated. The author asked the person to recall his thoughts just before the talk. He admitted feeling scared and doubting himself. He had convinced himself that he would fail. It's no surprise his talk didn't go well. Instead of building courage, he built fear. So the author gave him a challenge for the next session. The author advised him to give himself a pep talk in a vacant room. The author instructed him to say, "I'm going to give a great talk. I have something important to share, and I want to say it." He repeated those empowering sentences forcefully and returned to deliver his talk. The transformation was remarkable. That brief, self-administered pep talk helped him deliver a splendid speech. Practicing uplifting self-praise and avoiding belittling self-punishment can make a difference. Our thoughts shape who we are. When we think highly of ourselves, we become more. So anyone can create their own "sell yourself to yourself" commercial. Here's how it can be done. First, you need to identify your best qualities. There's no need to hold back. Describe yourself confidently. Next, write down these points in your own words. Now, create your commercial, addressing yourself directly. It's important to imagine talking only to yourself as you say it. Now, it's time to practice. Say your commercial out loud at least once a day, or read it silently. It can be read before facing any challenging situation that requires courage. It can be read whenever you feel down. Keeping the commercial handy at all times will ensure its availability whenever needed. Part 6. Manage your environment. Go first class. Ever notice how the food we eat affects our physical well-being? Well, here's a fact. The same goes for our minds. Just like our bodies reflect the diet we feed them, our minds reflect the environment we immerse ourselves in. Let me break it down for you. Think about it. Almost every habit or manner we have is influenced by the people around us. How we walk, cough, or even hold a cup. They're all learned behaviors picked up from our environment. And it goes way beyond the surface level. Our goals, attitudes, and personalities are impacted by the people we are surrounded with. 1. Don't let small-thinking people hold you back. People who tell you it cannot be done almost always are unsuccessful people, are strictly average or mediocre at best in terms of accomplishment. During college, the author befriended a colleague, a supportive and helpful companion who would lend money and offer assistance. However, this colleague had a deeply negative and bitter outlook on life, the future, and opportunities. Whenever the author read a newspaper column that promoted hope, positivity, and seizing opportunities, his colleague would dismiss it, claiming it was just a way to make quick money by deceiving the weak. When discussing success, his colleague presented his own money-making formula: marrying into wealth or establishing connections with influential people. He supported his arguments with examples, like labor leaders who embezzled money successfully or stories of individuals who married millionaires. Despite his intelligence and academic success, the author realized that his colleague's negativity was a recipe for failure. And finally, the author stopped hanging out with him. Years later, a mutual friend reported that he was working as a low-paid draftsman, still plagued by negativity. With 4 children to support, he struggled financially, despite possessing the potential to earn much more if he utilized his talents effectively. The point to remember is that the people you hang out with say a lot about you. The way you think is influenced by the group you stick with. So take a moment and think about the people around you. And surround yourself with dreamers, visionaries, and those who aren't afraid to think outside the box. 2. Get advice from successful people. You know what's funny? Many people think successful folks are untouchable, like they're in some elite club. But here's the truth. They're actually pretty down to earth. In fact, the most accomplished ones are often the humblest and happiest to help others. They genuinely care about their work and want to see it thrive, even long after they retire. I personally agree with this point 100%. I have worked in 3 big corporations and have seen that the higher you go in the organizational structure, the nicer the people get. So, when it comes to seeking advice, avoid the advice of failures. Reach out to those who have already achieved greatness. These are the folks who can light the way for you. These are the people who understand that success isn't just about what happens between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. Successful people know that what you do in your personal life directly impacts your performance at work. So, don't neglect your off-the-clock adventures. Create an exciting and fulfilling life outside of work. Surround yourself with people who lift you up and bring out the best in you. 3. Get plenty of psychological sunshine. All right, let me introduce you to 2 guys, John and Milton. They've got completely different psychological diets on weekends. Let's start with John, the master of excitement and engagement. He's got it all figured out. On one evening, he carefully selects some cool and interesting friends to hang out with. Then on another evening, he's out and about, catching a movie or getting involved in community projects. The dude knows how to keep things interesting. Saturday is filled with errands, chores, and some special projects like building a killer patio in his backyard. Sundays are reserved for quality family time, where they climb mountains or explore museums. And guess what? John even plans on buying some country property in the future. By Sunday evening, John unwinds by reading a book and catching up on the latest news. Now, let's shift our focus to Milton. On Friday nights, he's already tired, but he goes through the motions of asking his wife if they want to do anything. Sadly, plan dies right there. They rarely entertain or get invited out. Saturday mornings start with some lazy sleeping in, and the rest of the day is all about chores and mundane tasks. Saturday nights are all about movies or mindlessly watching TV, because what else is there to do, right? Sunday mornings? Milton loves his beauty sleep, so he spends most of it in bed. Sunday afternoons are a bit better, as they visit their only regular friends, Bill and Mary. But by Sunday evening, the whole family is on edge from being cooped up indoors. Can you imagine how dull and boring that must be? Now, here's the mind-blowing part. The effects of these two home environments on John and Milton are absolutely huge. Over a week or two, you might not see much difference, but over months and years, John's refreshing and engaging activities keep his mind sharp and brimming with ideas. On the other hand, poor Milton's psychological diet leaves him starving for excitement. His thinking gets all rusty and impaired. The gap between John and Milton will keep growing, with John leading the way. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, how can I upgrade my own psychological diet? Here are a few simple tips to create a first-class social environment. First, don't limit yourself to the same small group. Expand your circles. Circulate in new groups, meet new faces, and keep things interesting. Variety is the spice of life, and it's crucial for your success-building program. Second, embrace novelty. Make new friends, join different organizations, and broaden your social orbit. In this diverse world, being narrow-minded won't get you far. The real winners are those who can see both sides of the coin. Get to know people with different religious or economic beliefs and associate with those who challenge your perspectives. 4. Go first class in everything you do. Imagine you're in need of a new suit, and you come across a retailer offering a suit at a rock-bottom price. Excited about the so-called bargain, you make the purchase, only to find out that the suit is a complete disappointment. It looks shabby, doesn't fit right, and falls apart after just a few wears. What seemed like a great deal turned out to be a waste of your hard-earned money. By settling for second-class quality, you ended up paying more in the long run. Going first class means investing in a suit that fits you perfectly, looks sharp, and lasts for years. It's about quality over quantity. Going first class may seem costlier up front, but it saves you from the frustrations and expenses of settling for second class. You deserve the best, and that includes the products and services you choose. Going first class is an investment in yourself, your satisfaction, and your success. Remember, people notice quality, and it subconsciously influences how they perceive you. Now that we understand the importance of going first class, let me share some practical tips to help you implement this mindset in your life. Tip number 1, prioritize quality. Whether it's clothing, electronics, or everyday items, choose quality over quantity. Do your research, read reviews, and invest in products that are built to last. Trust me, it's worth it in the long run. Tip number 2, evaluate the true cost. Don't just focus on the price tag. Consider the value you'll receive. Sometimes a higher upfront cost means fewer headaches, repairs, and replacements down the line. Remember, quality often comes with a longer warranty and better customer service. Tip number 3, cut the clutter. Instead of accumulating a bunch of second-class items, declutter and focus on owning a few high-quality possessions that truly bring you joy and serve their purpose exceptionally well. Remember, it's not about extravagance or spending beyond your means. It's about making informed choices that prioritize quality, value, and long-term satisfaction. Part 7. Make your attitudes your allies. Ever noticed how attitudes can shape our interactions and influence our success? It's a fascinating aspect of human communication that we engage in every day, often without realizing it. Attitudes serve as mirrors of the mind, reflecting our thoughts and impacting how we act. Just think about it. If you can read someone's mind simply by observing their expressions and mannerisms, you can sense how a person feels about their job or relationships through subtle cues. Attitudes not only show through, but they also sound through. The way we speak, the tone of our voice, and the inflections we use convey our attitudes and feelings toward others. This ability to read attitudes is deeply rooted in our evolutionary history. Before the advent of language as we know it today, humans communicated through body language, facial expressions, and sounds. Even now, we rely on these non-verbal cues to connect with others. When our attitudes are positive and aligned with our goals, our abilities reach their peak effectiveness, and we naturally achieve good results. So, let's delve into 3 crucial attitudes that can serve as our allies in everything we do. 1. Grow enthusiasm attitude. Imagine you're sitting in a large college geography class, eagerly awaiting to dive into the fascinating world of geography. The professor enters the room, a middle-aged man, and as soon as he starts speaking, you can feel the energy drain from the room. He recites one dead fact after another with no passion or enthusiasm. The students begin to lose interest. Conversations start, and some even doze off. Frustrated, the professor tries to regain control, but his warnings fall on deaf ears. What's the reason behind this indifference? The answer is simple. The professor's lack of enthusiasm reflects in his teaching. He's bored, and that boredom spreads like wildfire. To activate others, you must first activate yourself. Enthusiasm is the key to success. It has the power to transform any situation, making it 1,100% better. Enthusiasm shines through everything you do and say. Be the person who spreads sunshine wherever you go. And here's a little self-test for you. Before you part ways with someone, ask yourself, did this person honestly feel better after talking with me? It's a simple yet powerful way to evaluate your impact. Apply this practice when interacting with employees, associates, families, customers, or even casual acquaintances. 2. Grow the "you are important" attitude. Imagine you're hiking on a mountain and you get lost. As soon as the word gets out, a massive search effort will start. It doesn't matter who you are or how important you are, or how rich or poor you are. Without knowing anything about you except that you are a human being, helicopters, other aircraft, and search parties on foot will begin looking for you. And they would keep on looking for you, spending thousands of dollars in the process, until they found you, or until not one trace of hope remained. Why do they do that? Because you are important. Let's understand this concept using another example. There's a grumpy bus driver in the bustling city of Detroit. Every morning, as he maneuvered through the chaotic traffic, he would deliberately pull away from the curb when a frantic passenger was just seconds away from boarding the bus. However, amidst his apathetic behavior, there was one passenger who consistently stood out. This passenger understood the power of making others feel important. Every morning, he greeted the driver with a warm and personalized, "Good morning, sir." Sometimes he would even sit close to the driver, engaging in small conversations that acknowledged the driver's responsibility and the challenges he faced. The passenger made the driver feel as if he were piloting a massive 180-passenger jet airliner. And in return, the driver showed him special courtesy, waiting patiently for his arrival. So when you make others feel important, they are more inclined to go above and beyond for you. People have an inherent desire to feel significant and valued. By acknowledging someone's importance, you tap into their motivation and willingness to contribute. It's a powerful tool for building connections, whether it's with customers, employees, associates, or even your boss. To apply this knowledge in your own life, here are a few tips. 1. Practice appreciation as a rule. Let others know that you appreciate what they do for you. Never take anyone for granted. A simple, warm smile can convey your notice and kindness towards them. Make it a habit to call people by their names. People love to hear their names. It gives them a boost and makes them feel acknowledged. Just ensure that you pronounce and spell their names correctly, as mistakes can inadvertently make someone feel unimportant. 3. Don't keep glory to yourself. Instead, invest it. When you receive praise or recognition, share it with your team or subordinates. Acknowledge their contributions and sincerely appreciate their value. By passing on praise, you inspire and motivate others to perform at their best. 3. Want to make more money? Then get the put service first attitude. Dr. Schwartz, the author, was driving through the city and suddenly he realized that the car was almost out of gas. So he pulled into a seemingly ordinary gas station. To his surprise, this particular gas station was bustling with activity. There were cars lined up and the attendants were busy assisting customers. He wondered what made this place so popular among the locals. As he stepped out of the car, he was greeted by a friendly attendant who swiftly filled his tank with gasoline. But that was just the beginning. He went above and beyond, checking under the hood and cleaning the outside of his windshield. The author thought that that was the extent of his service, but then the attendant did something unexpected. With a warm smile, he walked around to my side of the car and said, "Pardon me, sir. It's been a dusty day. Let me clean the inside of your windshield." The author was taken back by his thoughtfulness. He had never encountered an attendant who would go to such lengths to ensure his satisfaction. At that moment, the author realized the power of exceptional service. It was clear to him that this station understood the value of going the extra mile for its customers. Over the next few months, he found himself making several more trips through the city, and every time, he made it a point to stop at that very same service station. Didn't matter if it was the crack of dawn or the middle of the night, there were always other cars filling up at this place. The attendants at this station consistently provided more service than ever expected. They treated every customer with the same level of care and attention, regardless of whether they were first-timers or regulars. It was evident that they believed in putting service first. Building long-term relationships with customers is far more valuable than a quick transaction. By putting service first, you can cultivate a loyal customer base and enjoy the benefits of increased profits. So, if you want to make money, adopt a put service first attitude. Strive to provide exceptional value to your clients. Look for opportunities to exceed their expectations. Focus on creating memorable experiences that will keep them coming back for more. Part 8. Think right toward people. Want to know a basic rule for achieving success? Well, here it is. Success depends on the support of other people. The key to reaching your goals and becoming the person you want to be lies in the support and backing you receive from those around you. What I'm about to describe now happens every day. A group of decision makers huddles together to discuss who should get that promotion, take that new job, or join an exclusive club. The tension is palpable as they toss around names and opinions fly. But guess what? The first thing that pops up is not their technical skills or qualifications. It's whether or not they're likable. Positive comments like, "He's a good fellow," or "People speak highly of him," can open doors you never thought possible. And let me tell you, being described as someone who fits well within a group is like striking gold. On the flip side, lukewarm statements or negative vibes like, "He doesn't seem to get along too well with people," can slam the door shut on opportunities. It's crazy how much weight the likability factor carries in these discussions. Every friend you make, every positive impression you leave, acts as a stepping stone to elevate you higher. Successful people have the plan to increase their likability factor. They understand the power of building genuine connections, and some of them even have a written plan for it. So let's dive deep into the main strategy to build better connections and increase your likability. Take the initiative in building friendships. Leaders always do. The author had an interesting observation about how people tend to remain silent and freeze while waiting for elevators, especially when they're with unfamiliar individuals. Intrigued by this social behavior, the author decided to conduct an experiment. With a newfound resolution, the author made an effort to strike up conversations with strangers who were waiting alongside him. The author carefully noted the reactions received from 25 consecutive encounters. Surprisingly, each time, the author was met with a positive and friendly response. Here's what the author discovered. When a person takes the initiative and says something nice to a stranger, it makes both the stranger and the person feel a bit better. It helps them relax and connect with each other. When you make a pleasant remark to a stranger, you make him feel 1 degree better. This makes you feel better and helps you relax. Every time you say something pleasant to another person, you compensate yourself. It's like warming up your automobile on a cold morning. The author realized that it's important to take the lead in getting to know people. So, take the initiative in building friendships, as leaders always do. Now, let me share with you 4 ways to win friends by exercising just a little bit of initiative. 1. Introduce yourself whenever you get a chance, like at parties, meetings, or even at work. 2. Make sure people say your name correctly and politely correct them if needed. And try your best to say the other person's name correctly too. It shows respect and interest. If needed, write down the person's name and make sure you spell it right. People care about the right spelling of their name. 3. After meeting someone new and feeling a connection, send them a personal note or give them a call. It's important to nurture new friendships. 4. Don't underestimate the power of saying nice things to strangers. It may seem small, but it warms you up and prepares you for more rewarding interactions. Part 9. Get the action habit. Meet Mr. Activationist, a man who knows how to make things happen. He is always taking action and following through on his ideas and plans. Let's take a closer look at how Mr. Activationist operates. One day, he decides he wants to start his own business. He doesn't waste any time. He researches his market, develops a solid business plan, and takes the necessary steps to launch his business. He faces challenges along the way, but he tackles them with determination and persistence. On the other hand, we have Mr. Passivationist. He also dreams of starting his own business, but he's constantly plagued by doubts and fears. He spends countless hours analyzing every possible scenario, always waiting for the perfect conditions to align before taking action. Unfortunately, that perfect moment never seems to arrive, and his dreams remain unrealized. So what's the theory behind Mr. Activationist's success and Mr. Passivationist's stagnation? Activationists understand that waiting for the perfect conditions is a recipe for inaction. They know that it's better to take imperfect action than to wait indefinitely for everything to fall into place. Here's a piece of practical advice. Don't wait until the conditions are perfect. Take that first step towards your goals, even if it feels uncomfortable or uncertain. Let's understand this using the story of a man in his late 30s who wants to get married. He's come close to getting married on multiple occasions, but each time he finds something wrong with the woman he's about to marry. He postpones the marriage, fearing he might make a terrible mistake. 2 years ago, he met a woman who he believed was the right match. However, as they discussed marriage plans, he became increasingly uncertain. In an attempt to ensure he was making the right decision, he drafted a detailed 4-page document of stipulations that his prospective wife had to agree to before they could get married. The document covered various aspects of their life together, including religion, children, friends, and specific habits. When his potential bride saw the document, she rightfully rejected it. The relationship ended abruptly. This man was sharing his story with the author, expressing his worry about being overly cautious when it came to writing out a marriage agreement. He believed that being careful was essential, considering marriage as a significant step. However, he was mistaken. Sometimes being too careful and overly cautious can hinder progress, not just in planning a marriage, but in any endeavor where things need to be accomplished. The true measure of success lies in our ability to face and resolve challenges as they arise, rather than trying to eliminate all problems beforehand. We must be open to intelligent compromises with perfection, or else we'll be waiting indefinitely to take action. Break the cycle of analysis paralysis and embrace the power of action. Remember, the path to success is paved with imperfect actions and learning from your experiences. Let's shift our focus to the story of another young man in his 20s with a modest income, a wife, and a child. Like many others, he and his wife desired a new home for the advantages it would bring: a larger space, cleaner surroundings, and a place for their child to play. However, there was a significant obstacle: the down payment. He grew frustrated with the situation as he realized that his monthly rent payment was comparable to what he would pay for a new home. This realization ignited his determination to take action. He approached his wife and proposed the idea of buying a new home the following week. While initially skeptical, his wife questioned the feasibility due to the lack of funds for the down payment. Undeterred, he insisted that they would find a way. He brainstormed and devised a plan to approach the builder directly for a private loan arrangement. After persistent effort, he succeeded, but the monthly payments were higher than the traditional mortgage. Now he had to figure out how to raise the additional amount. He explored various ways and approached his boss at work. He explained his situation, expressing his determination to earn extra income. Impressed by his ambition, his boss created an opportunity for him to work extra hours on weekends, allowing him to increase his earnings. As a result, he and his wife were able to move into their new home. This experience taught him a valuable lesson. Taking action leads to expanded possibilities, boosts confidence and future decision-making, and provides a better standard of living for oneself and loved ones. Here's one more tip for becoming an activationist. Start your mental engine mechanically. Let me explain this with an example. Imagine a young and ambitious writer, filled with dreams but struggling to make progress. He often finds himself frustrated, going through days or even weeks without being able to write a single word. It's as if his creativity decided to go on vacation. And now, let me introduce you to another writer who knows a thing or two about consistently producing remarkable work. He shares his secret. He doesn't wait for motivation to kick in, especially when facing deadlines. Instead, he takes a different approach. Here's the trick. He makes himself sit down at his desk, grabs a pencil, and gets those mechanical writing motions going. He scribbles down anything that pops into his head, doodles around, and gets his fingers and arm in motion. And guess what? Like magic, his mind eventually snaps into gear without him even realizing it. Of course, there are times when lightning strikes and ideas come out of the blue, but the real gems emerge from diving right into the work. Action generates action. It's a fundamental law of nature that nothing kicks off by itself, not even the gazillion gadgets we rely on every day. Part 10. How to turn defeat into victory. 1. Study setbacks to pave your way to success. When an airplane accident occurs, the Civil Aviation Administration kicks into high gear. They sweep in, gathering fragments of metal from miles around, interrogating witnesses and survivors, and piecing together the puzzle of what caused the crash. It's intense, it's thrilling, and it's all for one purpose: to prevent future accidents. Years ago, when the author was a professor at Wayne State University in Detroit, something difficult happened. A student who was about to graduate got a failing grade from the author. This was a big disappointment for the student. He'd already planned for graduation, and canceling those plans was embarrassing. He had two choices: retake the course and graduate later, or quit school without a degree. As expected, the student felt upset when he found out about his failing grade. He admitted that he didn't try hard in the course. The rules didn't allow changing grades unless the professor made a mistake. Hearing this, the student got angry and said that many successful people in the city didn't take this course. But still, they were very successful. The author took a pause before responding. He agreed that success can come without knowing the course material. In the total scheme of life, this course content will not make a difference. However, your attitude toward this course will. In real life, they grade you just as we grade you. They will not promote you or pay you more for doing a second-class work. However, he went on to explain, in the real world, just like in school, your performance matters. Doing a bad job won't lead to promotions or better pay. The author suggested learning the lesson here. If you don't produce, you don't get where you want to go. A few days later, the author was happy to hear that the student decided to retake the course. This time, the student passed with exceptional results. In a gesture of gratitude, the student personally visited the author to express appreciation for their earlier discussion. Reflecting on the experience, the student revealed that failing the course had taught him a valuable lesson. He confessed that he was glad he hadn't passed on the first attempt. Now, he could find the lessons in his failures and learn from them. 2. Blend persistence with experimentation. Thomas Edison is known for being one of the most persistent scientists. Legend has it that he conducted thousands of experiments before he finally cracked the code and invented the electric light bulb. But Edison didn't just rely on persistence alone. He understood that to make persistence pay off, he had to blend it with a healthy dose of experimentation. Now, here's the deal. Persistence is fantastic, no doubt about it, but often persisting in one way isn't enough to guarantee success. Doing something persistently over and over again that didn't produce results in the previous attempts is just stupid. That's where experimentation needs to come into place. Imagine this. Many ambitious folks go through life with impressive persistence and a display of ambition. They're like bulldogs, grabbing onto something and refusing to let go. But they often fail to succeed because they neglect to experiment with new approaches. For example, oil companies invest significant efforts in studying rock formations before drilling wells. Surprisingly, despite their scientific analysis, approximately 7 out of every 8 wells turn out to be dry holes. However, oil companies remain persistent in their pursuit of oil. Rather than digging a single hole to extreme depths, they change their approach. When it becomes evident that a well won't yield oil, they exercise good judgment and experiment with a new one. The point to remember here is, stay with your goal. Don't waver an inch from it, but don't beat your head against a wall. If you aren't getting results, try a new approach. Here's how you can develop the power to experiment. Approach number 1. You've got to tell yourself loud and clear, there is a way. When you start believing that you're beaten and there's no way to conquer a problem, negative thoughts come barging in, reinforcing that defeated mindset. When you firmly believe that a solution exists, you'll notice a shift in your energy. That negative "let's quit" vibe transforms into a positive "let's keep going" attitude. Approach number 2. Take a step back and hit the refresh button. We often get so caught up in our struggles that we become blind to alternative solutions or fresh approaches. You won't believe the number of breakthroughs that can hit you while sitting beside a tree. Part 11. Use goals to help you grow. Goals are like your own personal compass, guiding you through uncharted territories and leading you to the treasure. Without goals, individuals just wander through life. Goals are as essential to success as air is to life. 1. Get clear on where you want to go. Let me tell you a story about a guy named Jack who was facing a career dilemma. He was a bright young man, just out of college, trying to figure out his next move in life. So he decided to seek guidance from a career counselor. As Jack sat down with the counselor, they started talking about Jack's background, education, and skills. It quickly became clear that Jack was feeling lost and uncertain about what he wanted to do with his life. He confessed, "I have no idea what kind of job I should pursue." The counselor knew that simply setting up job interviews wouldn't solve Jack's problem. They needed to dig deeper and help him discover his true passion and purpose. So the counselor asked Jack to imagine himself 10 years into the future and describe his ideal life. Jack thought for a moment, said that he wanted a good job that provided financial stability and a comfortable home. But he hadn't thought about it much. The counselor assured Jack that his response was completely normal. However, he explained that without a clear destination in mind, it would be challenging to find the right career path. It was like going to a ticket counter and saying, "Give me a ticket," without specifying the destination. The counselor emphasized that Jack needed to have a clear vision of where he wanted to be in order to make informed decisions about his career. This realization sparked something in Jack. He became determined to create a detailed 10-year plan for his work, home, and social life. With the counselor's guidance, Jack started envisioning his future in each of these 3 departments. In the work department, Jack considered what income level he wanted to achieve, the level of responsibility he wanted, and the amount of prestige he hoped to gain from his work. He wanted a career that challenged him and allowed him to grow both personally and professionally. Moving on to the home department, Jack thought about the kind of standard of living he wanted to provide for himself and his future family. He imagined living in a beautiful house, maybe a cozy cottage or a modern apartment, and going on memorable vacations with loved ones. Jack also thought about the financial support he wanted to offer his children as they entered adulthood. Finally, in the social department, Jack reflected on the kinds of friends he wanted to have, the social groups he wished to be a part of, the community leadership positions he aspired to hold, and the worthwhile causes he wanted to support. Jack wanted to surround himself with inspiring and like-minded individuals who would encourage his personal growth. Jack's 10-year plan started taking shape as he poured his thoughts onto paper. He described his work goals, his dream home with a beautiful garden, and his desire to make a positive impact on his community. It was a vivid and detailed vision of the life he wanted to create for himself. With this plan in hand, Jack felt a newfound sense of direction and purpose. By setting clear goals in the work, home, and social departments, he not only found success, but also found true fulfillment and happiness along the way. Jack's story serves as a powerful reminder that having long-term goals and a detailed plan is crucial for achieving real success. It's about knowing where you want to go and taking the necessary steps to get there. So, take a moment to envision your own future and start creating your own 10-year plan. You might be amazed at what you can achieve when you have a clear vision and a roadmap to guide you. 2. Let goals be your automatic guidance system. When you fully embrace your desires and become obsessed with a goal, you receive the physical power, energy, and enthusiasm necessary to achieve it. Let's understand this through two hypothetical individuals, Tom and Jack. While they are similar in many ways, the crucial difference lies in their level of goal clarity. Tom possesses a well-defined goal. He envisions himself as a corporate vice president in 10 years. By surrendering himself to this goal, Tom's subconscious mind guides him with specific instructions, advising him on what actions to take and what to avoid. It serves as an automatic guide, alerting him if he strays off course and providing instructions to get back on track. In contrast, Jack lacks a clear goal. Without a defined purpose, Jack easily becomes confused and lacks consistency in his actions. He struggles on the path toward mediocrity, wavering and guessing about what he should do. When you surrender yourself to a goal, it enters your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind always seeks balance, and with your goal deeply embedded within it, you become aligned with your desires. Your conscious mind becomes free for clear, straight thinking. If you observe highly successful individuals, it becomes evident that they wholeheartedly devote themselves to their objectives. Their lives revolve around a purpose, and they surrender themselves to that goal, allowing it to obsess them and provide the automatic guidance they need to reach it. 3. Take detours. If you're driving down a road and you come to a road closed situation, you wouldn't camp there, nor would you go back home. The road closed simply means you can't go where you want to go on this road. You simply find another road to take you where you want to go. Observe what military leaders do. When they develop a master plan to accomplish a mission, they also map out alternative plans. If something unforeseen happens that rules out plan A, they switch to plan B. It's important to understand that when we detour, we don't have to change our goals. We just travel a different route to reach the same destination, just like how Google Maps show alternate routes for one destination. 4. Self-investment. You might have heard people express their regrets about not investing in certain stocks in the past, thinking about the wealth they could have accumulated. When it comes to investments, most people think of stocks, bonds, real estate, or other properties. However, the most significant and rewarding investment one can make is in oneself, by acquiring things that enhance mental power and skills. Smart businesses understand that their strength and success 5 years from now depend not on their actions in the future, but on the investments they make today. Profit arises from one source: investment. This lesson applies to each of us as well. If we want to gain extra rewards and surpass a normal income in the years to come, we must invest in ourselves. We must invest in order to achieve our goals. Here are 2 sound self-investments that will pay handsome profits in the years ahead. 1. Invest in education. True education is the soundest investment you can make in yourself. 2. Invest in idea starters. Commit to purchasing at least one stimulating book each month and subscribe to one journal or one YouTube channel that can spark ideas. 5. One tiny step at a time. Imagine being stranded in the mountainous jungle on the Burma-India border during World War II. You and a group of friends had to parachute from a crippled army transport plane, knowing that rescue was weeks away. The only way out was a painful march through treacherous terrain, 140 miles, 225 kilometers, of mountains, scorching August heat, and relentless monsoon rains. Can you endure such a grueling journey? Our hero, Alan, found himself questioning his ability to complete this distance. In the first hour of the march, he could barely walk. By evening, his feet were covered in bleeding blisters. The pain was excruciating. And he wasn't alone. Some of his companions were in an even worse state. But amidst the doubt and despair, they discovered a powerful mindset, one that would change everything. Instead of focusing on the overwhelming magnitude of the journey, they broke it down into achievable milestones. They decided that they didn't have to conquer the entire distance at once. All they needed to do was to make it to the next friendly village. And so, with renewed determination, they pressed forward. Days turned into weeks, and Alan and his comrades pushed themselves further than they ever thought possible. And before they knew it, they had conquered the entire 140 miles, 225 kilometers, against all odds. They succeeded in their seemingly impossible mission. As this story illustrates, success doesn't come from one grand leap. It's built upon a series of intentional steps. The secret lies in breaking down the bigger goals into mini steps and then focusing on one step at a time. Part 12. Level up your leadership skills. Here are 4 powerful leadership rules. Leadership rule number 1. What is the human way to handle this? Let me tell you a story about the author's friend, John. One of John's team members wasn't the right fit for the job. John had no other option but to fire him. But John handled it like a legend. No boring meetings or long notice periods. He did something extraordinary. First, he sat down with the employee and explained the benefits of finding a new opportunity that matched his skills and passions. Next, he connected the employee with interviews at other companies where his talents were in high demand. And guess what? In just 18 days, the employee landed a seriously promising new job. But John's secret sauce wasn't just about helping one person. He had his team's back. He showed genuine care and unwavering support. And you know what happened? He created an unstoppable army of loyal superheroes, ready to conquer any challenge that came their way. Here's the deal. Instead of being a dictator or a rulebook fanatic, be human first. Say goodbye to sarcasm, cynicism, and power trips. Now imagine you're a team leader and tensions are rising among your team members. It's like a ticking time bomb ready to explode. For example, Sarah and John are 2 team members at odds over a project direction. They're like rival superheroes with different ideas. As the leader, you have a choice to make. Option 1, unleash your inner dictator. Shut them down, impose your decision, and crush their spirits. But seriously, who wants that? We both know that's a total disaster. Option 2, become the rulebook guru. Stick to the guidelines, ignore their concerns, and treat them like machines. Newsflash, people hate being treated like robots. Now, let's get to the good stuff, the be human approach. You take the time to listen to both Sarah and John, acknowledging their perspectives. You create a safe space for an open dialogue, allowing them to express their thoughts, concerns, and ideas. You demonstrate that their voices matter by considering their viewpoints and seeking a collaborative solution. This approach not only resolves the conflict, but also strengthens the bond among team members. Leadership rule number 2, trade minds with the people you want to influence. Ted had an exciting job as a television copywriter and director at a big advertising agency. When the agency scored a new client, a children's shoe manufacturer, Ted was given a big responsibility, creating TV commercials that would capture everyone's attention. However, after about a month of running the campaign, it became clear that something wasn't working. The commercials weren't making people rush to buy the shoes in stores. People had lots to say. It's so strange. It just feels too fancy. It seems like someone is trying way too hard to be clever. Here's the really interesting part. When they looked closely at the feedback, they realized that the 4% who liked the commercials were a lot like Ted in terms of money, education, sophistication, and interests. But the remaining 96% were from a different background. The problem was that Ted had made the commercials based on his own preferences, not considering how most people buy shoes. He focused on what he liked instead of what would appeal to the majority. It turned out that if Ted had thought like an ordinary person, he would have asked himself two important questions. If I were a parent, what kind of commercial would make me want to buy these shoes? And if I were a child, what kind of commercial would make me excitedly tell my parents that I want these shoes? Let's understand this example using a few situations. 1. If you give orders to your juniors or your employee, you ask yourself this: would I like to carry out orders if they were given to me the way I gave them to others? 2. In case you're preparing a speech, consider the background and interests of your audience. It's all about putting yourself in their shoes. Understand the people you want to influence. Leadership rule number 3. Think progress, believe in progress, and push for progress. Picture this. You're the president of a medium-sized company facing a tough decision. You want to promote a salesperson to become the sales manager. It's a pivotal role, and you need to choose wisely. You bring in an expert to spend a day with each candidate. 2 salesmen react the same way. They resist change, sticking to the status quo. But there's one standout: the 3rd salesman. He is pumped about the company's growth and always hungry for improvement. He shared ideas for getting new business, delivering better service, and boosting motivation. He was all about progress. Now, who would you choose? Obviously, the progressive thinker, right? The one who believes in pushing boundaries and making things better. In all areas of your life, you've got to think about progress, believe in progress, and push for progress. Here's a small checklist to think about. 1. Do you think progressively at work? For example, do you praise your company, the people in it, and the products it sells at every possible opportunity? 2. Do you think progressively about your family? For example, aim to strive for a higher standard of living. 3. Do you think progressively about yourself? For example, are you constantly growing and improving? There are only 2 ways to develop a progressive attitude. 1. Think about improvement in everything you do. 2. Think of high standards in everything you do. Leadership rule number 4. Tap your supreme thinking power with solitude. As part of a professional development program, 13 trainees were given a unique task. They had to spend 1 hour each day for 2 weeks, all by themselves. No distractions, just pure solitude. They were encouraged to think constructively about anything that came to mind. At the end of those 2 weeks, something incredible happened. Every single trainee, without exception, reported that the experience was unbelievably practical and worthwhile. One trainee was about to have a serious disagreement with another executive, but through clear thinking during his solitude, he not only identified the root cause of the problem, but also found a solution to fix it. Others discovered their own unique breakthroughs. One trainee tackled the challenge of changing jobs, while another resolved their marital difficulties. There was even someone who found clarity in buying a home. But that's not all. Here is the fascinating part. They found that decisions and observations made during their solitude were extremely accurate. When the fog of distractions was cleared, the right choices became crystal clear. Successful leaders know the importance of spending time alone with their thoughts. Solitude allows them to put the puzzle pieces of a problem together, find creative solutions, and plan effectively. It's their secret weapon for super thinking. Sadly, many people miss out on unlocking their own creative leadership power because they seek advice from everyone and everything except themselves. They fail to tap into their own inner wisdom and insight. Now, here's what you can do to harness the power of solitude in your own life. 1. Start by setting aside some time each day, at least 30 minutes, to be completely alone. Choose a time when your mind is fresh and distractions are minimal. It could be early in the morning or late at night, whatever works best for you. During this dedicated time, engage in 2 types of thinking: directed and undirected. For directed thinking, focus on a major problem or challenge you're facing. Allow your mind to objectively study the issue and guide you toward the right answer. For undirected thinking, let your mind wander freely. Explore different thoughts and ideas that come up naturally. This type of thinking taps into your subconscious mind. Remember, thinking is the leader's main job, and the best way to prepare for leadership is through thoughtful contemplation. The answers you seek are within you. Give yourself the space and opportunity to find them. Part 13. Believe you can succeed, and you will. Those who believe they can move mountains actually do. Belief triggers the power within us to take action, find solutions, and achieve what others perceive as impossible. Your mind is a thought factory with two employees, Mr. Triumph and Mr. Defeat. Feed Mr. Triumph with positive signals, and he'll manufacture reasons why you can succeed. On the other hand, Mr. Defeat will fill your mind with negative thoughts and reasons why you can't. Fire Mr. Defeat and embrace Mr. Triumph 100% of the time. Here are 3 tips from the book to develop the power of belief. 1. Focus on success thinking. Replace thoughts of failure with thoughts of triumph. When faced with challenging situations, remind yourself that you'll conquer them. When competing with others, believe that you're equal to the best. Embrace opportunities with the mindset that you can achieve greatness. Let the powerful thought of, I will succeed, dominate your thinking process. By thinking about success, you condition your mind to create plans and take actions that lead to success. 2. Never underestimate your own potential. Don't sell yourself short. 3. Believe big. The size of your success is directly proportional to the size of your belief. Dare to think big, set ambitious goals, and expect great achievements. Don't limit yourself to small ideas and plans. This is it for this video. This was quite long, but I hope it was worth it. Probably 95% of people will not watch such videos or read such books. By simply watching this video, you're already on the top 5%. And if you take 1 or 2 lessons from this video and apply it to your own life, I truly believe you will see remarkable changes. Thanks for watching and have a lovely day.